I'm Michael Seitz, joined by Alberto Calderon, and this is Cal and Seitz. Hello, Internet. We got a lot going on this Tuesday. We got some hockey. We got the NBA starting up today. College football, obviously, their final rankings. Full slate of NFL action this past weekend and this upcoming weekend. So let's dive right into it. We're going to start in college football. Pretty unanimous 1-2 in the country. I think everybody can agree. Alabama, Clemson for 1 and 2. And then it starts getting real fuzzy after that. Ohio State awarded the number 3 spot, and Notre Dame awarded the number 4 spot in the college football playoff. I mean, I think we all saw this coming, but I don't really know of anybody who agrees with this 100%.
No, there's definitely some people who can argue against Notre Dame or Ohio State. I think the major discussion was either Notre Dame or Texas A&M. You could pick which one was to get in for that 4 spot. But I like the Ohio State versus Texas A&M debate because I feel like Notre Dame earned its way with that win over Clemson earlier in the year. But I don't see that resume from Ohio State aside from that win over Indiana. But I can't disagree with the 4. I'm excited for the playoff. Although we're gonna see Alabama Clemson again most likely. I'm excited to see. I'm excited for Notre Dame to be in there again. But I'm looking forward to that championship game.
Well, we'll be breaking down the semifinal matchups when we get closer to New Year's. But I think it's gonna be 2 blowouts personally.
Oh yeah,
but,
me too.
I don't think Ohio State should be anywhere near the top 4. I agree with Dabo. They should be around 10. If you didn't see, the coaches' poll rankings for Saban and Dabo Swinney got leaked. Saban, they both had the same exact top 4, which was Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Texas A&M in that order. Saban had Ohio State at 5. Dabo had Ohio State at 11. So,
man. That tells you what he thinks of them, and they're going to play each other. And I expect nothing less from Clemson. They should beat them by 20, 25 points.
I agree with that for sure. I'm wondering what the heck the committee was thinking, putting Oklahoma at 6. I think Cincinnati should have been at 6, Florida 7, Oklahoma 8. Also, I think Iowa State should have been ranked ahead of Georgia. Georgia's 9 right now. Iowa State is 10. Indiana for me, too high. I think they should be below both Coastal and UNC. But I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter, obviously. But
okay. I mean, they should have been the ones playing in the Big Ten championship game.
I mean,
they should have been the ones playing that game. Who knows what the Big Ten is doing? Hey, look,
Big Ten was no good this year. Exactly. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. It usually is the best, one of, if not the best, well, probably second best football conference in the nation. They stunk. It was them in the Pac-12 at the bottom this year. So let's go into our hypothetical here. I think almost, like I said, everybody can agree we need to do something about the college football playoff, whether it's expansion or whether it's the group of 5 teams, meaning a Coastal and a Cincy and a BYU forming their own little playoff or something to get extra postseason games besides the bowl games. I think everybody would love to see an expansion. So let's go through the hypothetical if it was 8. So on this 8-team model, we're going to say the guarantees for getting in are top 8 ranked in the nation, and that includes one group of 5 no matter what.
Yeah.
As long as a group of 5 team is ranked in the top 25, they could be 25th in the highest group of 5 team, they can get in. In this scenario, the highest group of 5 team is number 8, Cincinnati, so it works out perfectly.
Yeah.
So in the 8-team scenario, Cincinnati would play Alabama. Florida would play Clemson, which I believe would be a very good game.
Oh, yeah.
Oklahoma and Ohio State would be great, and Texas A&M Notre Dame would be great. So it's an interesting perspective there. So now if you go to 12 teams, which I believe personally is my preferred playoff, is a 12-team playoff. The top 4 get byes. So straight looking from the rankings that the committee provided us, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, 1 through 4 get a bye week.
Yeah.
5 would then play 12. In this rankings, it would be Coastal Carolina traveling to Texas A&M. 11, Indiana. going to 6 Oklahoma. 10 Iowa State going to 7 Florida, and 9 Georgia going to 8 Cincinnati. Some more good matchups in there. But now you run into the problem of what if you win your conference championship game and you miss the playoff with 12 people? To fix this issue, you would have to put Oregon in instead of either Coastal Carolina or Indiana because they won the Pac-12.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of loopholes to figure out in this, whether you would guarantee 1 or even 2 group of 5 teams a shot, whether you would have all the conference champions in. It would be very interesting. I don't know your thoughts on these expanded playoffs.
So I like the 8-team playoff better. What I would do personally is take the 5 conference champions. So in this case, this year it'd be Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State, Clemson, and Oklahoma. And then I had 2 wild cards. One of those wild cards being, if this was any other year, I would have one of those wild cards set aside for Notre Dame if they were to meet the playoff criteria.
Okay. One
other wild card, and then the last spot, the 8th spot, would be the best group of 5 team. That's my preferred playoff expansion scenario. That first round, the 8 rounds or the 8-team first round would be at the 1, 2, and 3, 4 seeds, and then you proceed as normal with the semifinals at the bowl games. Mm-hmm. I like the 8 version. I can see 12 too. I like 12, but I prefer the 8.
Okay.
I feel like there is time where we need to expand, and this year should have been the year. We looked at the MLB; they expanded it to 8 teams. NBA did an abridged version of the end of the season, and they allowed a play-in series for the bottom seeds, and the NHL too. I mean, you had a 24-team playoff. So I think this year should have been the year for the NCAA to at least experiment. You could have at least try.
Yeah.
But now you'll never know. So.
What would be very interesting about having in the 8-team scenario all the Power 5 champions in is that Cincinnati would actually get bumped up to 7. Oregon would now be 8 because they're right now ranked 25th. Mm-hmm. And you would be kicking out a very good Florida team. So,
I mean, what I would do is I would put the 5 champions in, give that 1 spot to Cincinnati, the best group of 5 team, and then the 2 wild cards. So this year it would probably be Florida and Iowa State.
Or what about Texas A&M?
Florida and Texas A&M. Yeah, excuse me.
Well, what about Notre Dame?
Then it would be Notre Dame and Florida.
Notre Dame and Florida?
I think so.
Not Notre Dame and Texas A&M?
Oh, yeah, Notre Dame and Texas A&M, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I was a little confused there.
Yeah, so it would be Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, A&M, Oklahoma, Cincinnati, and Oregon.
Yep, precisely.
That would be very interesting for sure. Hopefully down the line, sooner than later, that they can expand it. Obviously, no guarantees on that. So I can't talk. We will move on to the NHL. They finally have come to an agreement. We've been saying this for 2 weeks now. The season will start on January 13th. The NHL and NHLPA will play 56 games. The main goal of this is to play a complete season, award a champion, and get back to normal in 2021-22. The schedules obviously have not been released yet. Opening night will obviously be on the 13th or 14th for all the teams. The trade deadline, April 12th at 3 p.m. Regular season will end around May 8th or 9th. And then the last possible game for the finals, meaning a Game 7, would be around July 15. Also, a couple notable next offseason dates. The Seattle Kraken expansion draft will be held on July 21st. The first-year player draft will be held on the 23rd and 24th. And free agency finally begins on July 28th, 2021. There's also realignment in divisions too. We'll get into that in a second. But what do you think about these dates? Do they sound right? Did they do what they were supposed to?
I like them. Yeah, they finally figured it out between the PA and the actual league. I forgot about that Seattle Kraken. The expansion draft should be fun. See what teams keep on their rosters, see what teams they're willing to let go. I don't think we'll see another Vegas type team. That's a once in a generational type.
That was crazy.
That was crazy going to the Stanley Cup for the first year of existence. But I like it. I think the trade deadline is a little late, maybe 3 weeks until the end of the season.
Yeah, it's like less than a month. It's a little late, I think. But
it's a little late because usually it's around 6 to 7 weeks ahead of the end of this season.
Yeah.
So, but I like it. As long as we're on track for 21-22, I'm happy.
Okay, so we also have new alignment. Obviously, the travel restrictions across Canada to the U.S. especially prompted this. So there are 4 divisions: North, Central, East, and West. The Northern Division is all Canadian. That is the division with 7 teams.
Yeah.
It's Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto, Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver. Those teams will play each other 9 or 10 times this season because there are only 7. Other 3 divisions, teams will play each other 8 times each. The Central, which has been deemed pretty unanimously the weakest division in hockey, although it has the 2 reigning Stanley Cup Finals participants in it. It is Detroit, Chicago, Columbus, Nashville, Dallas, Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Florida. The East has been deemed probably the hardest, if not the North, with Boston, the Rangers, Islanders, the Devils, the Flyers, Capitals, Sabres, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. And then the West, San Jose, Los Angeles, Anaheim, Vegas, Arizona, Colorado, and they threw Minnesota and St. Louis over there to round it out. So it'll be very interesting to see. And the top 4 in each division will make the playoffs, giving us the field of 16.
Is that confirmed?
Yes, that's confirmed.
Top 4?
The top 4 in each division make the playoffs.
Oh, man.
They will play in-house, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. And then the winners of each of those series play in the round of 8. And then the conference semifinals, which will just be the Stanley Cup semifinals. It'll be 1 representative from each division, whoever comes out of the first 2 rounds. There's no conferences. There's no East, no West. They will reseed based on points. And the winners of those 2 series will face us in the Stanley Cup Finals. So there are possibilities of us seeing, for example, a Toronto and Boston Stanley Cup Final. There's a possibility of a Tampa-Boston. There's a possibility of a Dallas and Colorado final. Tampa and St. Louis, which would obviously be the West, and the East still. Like, there's endless possibilities, honestly, with rivalries for, like, Chicago, St. Louis, something like that. Columbus, Pittsburgh. Like, you could do a ton of rivalries in here.
Hey, I like this. I actually kind of like this, but that East is going to be so hard. Oh, my goodness. I mean, you're going to have – there's 8 teams in this, but you're going to have 6 solid teams in the division. There's going to be 2 teams that are going to be left out. Oh, man.
What the funny thing is with this, though, is that the Metro Division, which is home to 6 of the Eastern teams, with the exception of Columbus and Carolina, was going to be the toughest division in hockey already. Yeah. If you want to look at it this way, those 6 teams from the Metro in the East now, technically their schedule got a little bit easier. Well, not their schedule, but their division. Yeah. The teams in it got a little bit easier because you're looking at Penguins. They're older, but they still have top 2 lines and a goalie. They're a playoff team. Flyers, you would assume they could take a step back if they're a playoff team. Capitals, who knows what's going to happen there, but as long as Ovechkin's there, they're going to be close to, if not a playoff team. The Rangers are up and coming as a playoff team. The Islanders were in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Bruins, there are rumors about them taking a step back, but they're still the Bruins. The Sabres now have Taylor Hall, and they're a notorious first-half team, which will help them a lot if they stick with that in the shortened season. And, I mean, nobody thinks New Jersey's going to do anything, but who knows? It's hockey. Anything can happen in the NHL.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a battle.
So go ahead.
You go, because I was going to say something completely different.
So let's say hypothetically let's do Boston, Pittsburgh, Rangers, Islanders. Those are the top 4 teams.
So you're missing the Flyers and the Capitals.
No, I'm just saying hypothetically.
Oh, okay.
Just those 4 teams, Boston, Pittsburgh, and both New York teams. So those 4 teams would play in 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3.
Mm-hmm. So let's say
it's going to be one representative from each division in the
yes. So if it's in order, Boston, New York, Pittsburgh, New York, it would be the lower New York team versus Boston, the higher New York team versus Pittsburgh, and I would assume a regular 7-game series. And the winner of those two, say it's New York and New York, then they'll play in the East final.
Okay.
And then the winner of that goes on to the Stanley Cup semifinals against the however many points they'll reseed 1, 2, 3, 4 again and do it all over.
Okay. I like it. It's interesting. I mean, it's gonna be a tough battle. I mean, I think we can understand who comes out of the Northwest and Central, but the East is gonna be a dogfight.
It's looking. We'll have way more in-depth coverage once again of this. As we get closer, we'll have a whole show devoted to this, I'm sure. But it looks like Tampa Bay doesn't have a cakewalk. There's no such thing as a cakewalk, but it looks like Tampa Bay is a fairly easy path, at least to first or second in their division.
Yeah,
they should already have a playoff spot clinched up for them. So, it looks like Colorado and Vegas should be 1-2 out there in the West. Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton should be in up north.
Yeah.
And then, like we said, the East is a crapshoot at this point.
So, I mean, look, we're looking at just a quick analysis. I'm looking at the West right now. It should be 1, 2, 3 in no order. Colorado, St. Louis, Vegas. And that 4 spot is up for grabs.
The 4 spot, I believe, is between Arizona and Minnesota, 2 teams that are fringe playoff teams in a normal year because those 3 California teams are not good anymore.
They're probably the worst in the league.
It used to be that California swing was the worst road trip in all of hockey about 4 or 5 years ago, as all 3 of them were 1, 2, and 3 in the West, let alone the Pacific. That's transitioned to Northwestern Canada with the Canucks, Oilers, and Flames, which real quick before we move on to the NFL, just want to talk about, we're going to get to see Oilers Flames, the Battle of Alberta, 9 or 10 times.
Yeah.
That's a nasty, nasty rivalry over the last 3 years. There have been goalie fights in that rivalry. It's been phenomenal. We're going to get to see old rivalries such as Chicago-Detroit. Columbus, believe it or not, was in the West for a while too. So they get to revisit their old rivals in Chicago, Detroit, Nashville. You've got Dallas, Tampa. You've got Carolina, Tampa. Obviously not in the same division anymore. Used to be in the old Southeast. You've got Pittsburgh, Philly 8 times a year. Pittsburgh, Washington, Battle of New York, Flyers and Bruins. Got obviously all of Canada. All of Canada is always a pride thing there. So it should be really good. Maybe they'll finally be able to establish that battle of the desert that they wanted whenever Vegas came into the league, which turned into Sharks and a night rivalry, which also we'll get to see 8 times a year. So
that's right. Hey, let's get it, man. All
right, let's move it on to the NFL. Wild week around the league with top teams such as the Steelers and Rams losing to inferior opponents such as the Bengals and Jets. That was rough. The Jets, we'll talk about them real quick. Alberto, are you happy they won?
No. No.
Good. Okay, yeah, I am so glad they won. I personally did not want Trevor Lawrence to waste his career as a New York Jet.
Oh, man, you're terrible.
I'm sorry, but he would have been so wasted in New York. I think he's going to have a great career in Jacksonville.
Hey, we don't know that yet. I'm hoping Jacksonville beats Chicago, which they can.
Not going to happen.
They're
in full tank mode. I would not be surprised if Minshew didn't play.
No, they're not going to relinquish that top spot. Hey, I mean, players don't tank. They don't tank.
No, but
they're not,
No, but the Bears are playing for too much right now, especially with their win last week.
They are. Yeah, they are. So, the Jets. So.
Yep. Only the New York Jets and Pittsburgh Pirates could screw up losing, and the Pirates actually didn't screw it up this year. So.
And the Knicks, too. Don't
and the Knicks.
We're at the Knicks.
Jeez.
Despicable.
All right, let's move on to the NFL last week. Some crazy games. We'll start the Buffalo Bills clinching the AFC East on Saturday with a thrashing of the Broncos. They seem to be rearing into fashion there. The Packers and Panthers. The Packers have an inability to finish out games, is what it seems like. They need to fix that if they're going to go far in the playoffs, which I think they will. They win 24-16, controlled almost the whole game. Buccaneers got down big to the Falcons, but the Falcons did what the Falcons do, especially when playing Tom Brady. Buccaneers win that game 31-27. Cowboys over the Niners 41-33, and it's just an odd game. I forgot it was going to be played at 1. It seems like it has 4:05 written all over it, but both these teams stink. Cowboys, I think the score was closer than it actually was.
It was. It was.
Titans beat up on the Lions as everybody expected. Henry ran wild. Colts, 27-20 win over the Houston Texans. That's a big win for them. They keep pace with the Titans.
Yeah.
The Dolphins, a 22-12 win over the Patriots, who missed the playoffs for the first time since, 2008? 7?
Yeah, 8.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something crazy, like 11 years. We'll talk about this one. Bears 33, Vikings 27. This was an elimination game, in my opinion. And the Bears showed up. Trubinsky didn't look too bad. Montgomery ran for 146. Allen Robinson caught four balls for 83 yards. And that defense, even though they gave up 27 points, they held firm at the end.
Yeah, I thought the Bears defense was going to definitely stifle Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook, but it turns out to be, a completely different game. And I'm surprised the Bears put up 33 points because that offense a month ago couldn't put up 10 points in a game. And we talked about this Bears team before. If they didn't, completely stink for a month, we could be talking about Bears Packers right now for the NFC North crown. But supposedly Trubisky's looking like his 2018 self the last couple weeks only.
Yeah.
And the defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense. It's just that their offense is so bad and so inept that they can't do anything. But the Bears they both needed this. Bears got the dub, away, and they need to keep pace with Arizona, who won also this weekend.
As I say, I don't want to call it a layup because it's the Bears, but they should win against Jacksonville.
They should.
On Sunday, especially even though it's on the road. It's just better for them. They're playing in the warm weather, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. You never know.
Trubinsky, at least.
The Rams were in the playoff hunt. They're looking for an NFC North crown. They laid an absolute dud against the Jets. You never know any given Sunday. Obviously, I think the Bears should definitely take care of business against a way inferior Jacksonville team. But you never know, especially with this Bears team, because maybe they're riding a high right now. But we never know.
Who knows? We'll have to see. The Vikings, on the other hand, their season it's not over, but it's over. They got the Saints on Christmas this Friday. They're not winning that game.
No, they got no shot.
That will be the final nail in the coffin for their season. Yeah.
That's the Saints' kryptonite, though, Minnesota Vikings.
That's true, but it's also the Saints need this win to keep pace with the Packers there. So
yeah, they do.
It'll be interesting.
They lose the tiebreaker against the Packers. They need
to win out.
Yeah.
So all right, we'll move on here. Your Seahawks and your football team, Alberto. The football team's offense was so bad in the first half that they looked like they had never touched a football in their lives. The football team's defense is so good that they kept this game to 20-15.
Yep.
That's impressive, especially even though Russ hasn't been doing what he usually does. And Seattle offense a little bit sluggish now, even though they crushed the Jets. Still sluggish. Man, it's going to be interesting to see if they rematch. I want to see what happens, especially with Alex Smith, because I don't know if Haskins will be on the team within the next week. If you don't know, he was spotted at a strip club on Sunday night without a mask on. So
really?
Oh yeah.
This is news to me. Oh, come on, Alex.
No, Haskins. Not Alex
Haskins.
Smith. Haskins.
Haskins. Come on, man.
It's like his third time this year. He's like been sighted in public without a mask on in a large group of people. So
that's not good, man.
What'd you think of this game?
I definitely wanted to see these teams rematch in the playoffs. Seattle has the division lead now because LA lost. But I think we could still see it because Seattle and LA play. If LA wins that game, I think they'll win the division. I think they have the tiebreaker.
They do.
I want to see these two teams play again. And if Alex Smith is under the helm for that game, they'll win the game.
Okay.
I think they'll win the game. I think it benefits them that they lost this game. And if they rematch Seattle, they'll come out, they won't come out flat. Alex Smith is a way better game manager than Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, yeah.
I think Washington could still win that. But even if they won this game, I still think with Alex Smith playing, I think they'll win that game. And I said it a couple of weeks ago. I like this Washington team to win one football game, one playoff home game against the Seattle squad, or even the LA Rams.
Well,
Even the LA Rams. I mean, that game would be like 13-10.
A couple weeks ago, we were saying that no way they beat Seattle. They can only beat the Rams. I've completely flip-flopped my opinion on that. I think there's no way in hell that they beat the Rams. Okay. Even though the Rams just lost to the Jets, every team has that game. It just happened to be really bad from the Rams, but every team has that game. But no, there's no way the Rams are going to lose to Washington and Washington. Their defense is way too good to possibly give up points.
Yeah.
But no, I think the Seattle team is very beatable.
Oh, yeah.
The first 4 weeks of the season they looked very unbeatable. So if they do rematch, the rematch later in the year, usually non-division rematch.
Yeah.
Favors the team who lost.
Yeah.
Historically, whether that is strategic-wise, where you can come out with a new strategy and you already know your opponents, whether that is the chip on your shoulder, I don't know. But historically, a rematch in the playoffs between two non-divisional opponents favors the loser of the first game.
Yeah. So that's why I like I like that Washington lost this game. Obviously, you don't want to lose a game. But if you were to rematch against the Seattle Seahawks, and it's still very likely, I like Washington winning that football game. One football game under Alex Smith. I like it.
All right. We'll move on here. Let's see. Jaguars got crushed by the Ravens. Jets beat the Rams. Cardinals, Eagles. We can talk about this one real quick. Yeah. Hurts looked good.
Hurts is good, man.
Hurts looked real good. He threw for 388 and 3 touchdowns. Hopkins, 9 receptions, 169 and a touchdown for the Cardinals. Murray threw for 406. Arizona jumped out early, 16-0 lead. Eagles cut it, chipped away, were able to tie it up with a Jalen Hurts run for a touchdown. And DeAndre Hopkins would end up catching the game-winning pass, 7:17 left in the fourth quarter. Eagles had a chance at the end. I don't know if you saw it, Alberto, but at the end, the Eagles were at, I think the 20 or the 15.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think they had, the 21. It was 3rd and 20. They needed the 1 for a first down. They obviously weren't getting it. They had a timeout. They threw 2 balls to the end zone. So I don't really understand why they did that. They could have got half those yards or more because the Cardinals on 3rd and 4th down played a goal line defense. They put everybody at the goal line. So if you would have thrown a little slant and given yourself up, slid, call a timeout, go back out there,
for the
3rd and 11 or 3rd and 10 from the 11 instead of 4th and 20 from the 21. But
oh wow, listen, Doug Peterson hasn't really been the best coach this year either. With his inability, to take out Wentz earlier in the year. But that's a bad play call, man. And they're not going to win the division. They weren't going to win the division anyway. But that crushed their hopes, I think. But I like Hurts, man. I think he's going to be really good. Or not really good, but I think he's going to be a solid starter next year. I think he's going to start for the Eagles next year. I think Wentz is done with his time in Philly. So I like Hurts to be the starter for the Eagles.
We'll get to Wentz in a minute, actually.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about the Cardinals real quick. That was huge. That's a huge win for the Arizona Cardinals.
Big time.
Keeps them a game up on the Bears. They've got the Niners and at the Rams to finish out the year, while the Bears have the Jaguars and Packers. So be really interesting because the Packers are probably going to still play their starters in that Week 17 game because I believe the Packers and the Saints will both win this week. Meaning if the Packers would win on Week 17 against the Bears, they would have the 1 seed. No cakewalk for either team, obviously.
Nope.
But this week is crucial for the Cardinals. If they get the win this week, I'm not sure they clinch. I'm not sure about the tie-breaking scenarios, but it's going to be really hard for the Bears to catch them if the Cardinals win this week.
Yeah, they're in good position because Arizona wins. They go to 9-6, and then Bears. Even if the Bears win, they go to 7 and what is it? I don't even know.
They're 7-7. They'll go to
They
8-7.
go to 8-7. Arizona's at 9-6. So I think if Arizona takes care of business against, they're home against San Fran, they need to win this game. That's another must win.
Mm-hmm. And Bears fans this week are rooting for the Detroit Lions heavily against Tom Brady and the Bucs because even though they're 9-5 and 2 games up, they've got the Lions, who obviously, who knows what Lions team will show up, but you never know in the NFL. And then they host the Falcons Week 17, which the Falcons should have won the game on Sunday.
Yep.
And the Bears have the head-to-head tiebreaker against the Buccaneers, if you remember, Thursday Night Football Week 4 or 5, whenever the Bears were on top of everything. So
exactly.
It'll be very interesting to see there. Let's see, the Chiefs-Saints game of the week at first did not live up to the hype. There were a lot of punts in that first half.
Yeah.
Second half, full scoring, 32-29 final. The Chiefs win it down in New Orleans. Drew Brees did not look like himself. The first 6-7 passes of the game started, I believe, 0 for 6 with a pick. Edwards-Helaire injured for Kansas City. High ankle sprain is what they're calling it. They're hopeful for his return in the playoffs. They clinched that first round bye with the Pittsburgh loss last night also. So
they did.
He's got 3 weeks to recover. So,
man. Listen, this Kansas City team is I actually looked at their schedule earlier this morning.
They've had such an easy schedule.
And the trend that I saw is that their last 6 or 7 games, they've only won by 1 possession.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that trend, and I'm like, they're playing solid football. They're playing, the best football that I've seen in a while. But somehow they're only winning games by a possession. I think it's the defense.
Yeah.
Because, Mahomes in the offense could go out there and score 40 easily like that within 3 quarters, if you want to. Mm-hmm. But the defense, it's not as good as last year's. And, if Kansas City doesn't make it to the playoffs, if they face a Buffalo, if they face Pittsburgh, if they figure it out. If they
not a Pittsburgh, I'll tell you that right now.
If they face Tennessee, we could see a relapse of 2018 Kansas City Chiefs against that game against New England.
We could.
But I have a lot of faith in Mahomes to get them to return to the Super Bowl.
The last 6 games, as you talked about, 7 games ago they beat up on the Jets at Arrowhead.
So it's the last 6 games they've won.
So last 6 games, hosting the not so good Carolina Panthers, 33-31 win.
That was a good game too. Teddy Bridgewater looked great.
Yeah. At the Raiders, 35-31 win, which I really don't think they should have won that game.
That was the Sunday night game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Chiefs Bucks, 27-24 Chiefs. That was Hill's crazy first quarter.
Yeah.
They deserved to win that, but once again, they faltered a little bit in the end, made it close.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs Dolphins, they did not look good at all in the first half, came on in the second offensively, 33-27. Excuse me, I missed the game in there. Sunday night against the Broncos, where the Broncos had a couple of opportunities to not put them away, but go up on them and hold them down. Their defense played great. They won 22-16. Then Chiefs Dolphins 33-27, and now this week with the Saints, which honestly, at the end of the first half of whoever, I don't know what player that was on special teams. Hardman, I believe it was Hardman, who fielded that punt at the end of the first half. I don't know why he didn't let that bounce and let time run out. There are 3 seconds left. If he lets it bounce, time runs out. Fields it, he starts running. He's got the ball up here, gets it punched out into the end zone. The Saints, there are 3 Saints around it. This guy comes flying in as fast as he can, slides through the end zone with the ball.
Yeah.
If he just literally stops and falls on the ball, they win the game. It was a safety instead of a touchdown. They lose by 3. Difference of 4 points. 5 points. Very interesting there. The Chiefs have the Falcons and Chargers remaining on the schedule. I would be surprised if Mahomes played more than a half in each game. He might not even play the last game against the Chargers.
Probably not.
I would expect him to play this week, though. Keep him sharp.
You know what? I don't know if I think Mahomes would play the first half of the Week 17 game.
He might.
2 weeks is a lot of time.
That's true.
2 weeks is almost too much, basically.
That's true. And the Saints have the Vikings on Christmas, like we said, and then at the Panthers to finish it off. Other games of note: the Browns beat the Giants 20-6. The Giants had tons of opportunities to cash in. It's just awful football they played. They basically said we don't want to make the playoffs at this point and folded. And then the Steelers, I so disgusted with them. They lost 27-7. They just dug themselves too big of a hole. The third quarter Steelers that we saw were the Steelers we saw, week 5, 6, 7 against Tennessee and healthy Baltimore. They need to figure it out. Ben did not look good at all in the first half.
That looks terrible.
Some of it, I believe, is the play calling too. But obviously, Ben's got to hit the open guys. And obviously, Juju Smith-Schuster got popped on the logo he did the dance on earlier. That is not the most ironic thing about that hit, in my opinion, though. The most ironic thing about that hit and that play is it's 3rd and 7, and the play call was a 2-yard slant. That's the most ironic thing about that play because that's all that the Steelers have run the past 3 weeks.
I gotta look back. I gotta look back at the play. No, you're right. They only run slants with Deontay Johnson going right there. I mean, they do it to simulate the run game because it's non-existent.
On 3rd and 7, you're running a 2-yard slant.
Yeah,
even if he catches it and doesn't fumble, he gets 3 yards.
I gotta look back at the play, but I mean, obviously that has to be on Ben too because you need to pick up the first down.
Oh, absolutely. But I just don't understand why the play call itself, that primary play call, you're looking for that 2-yard route.
Yeah.
I just don't get that.
I don't know. I gotta look back at the play. Maybe Juju was a decoy. I don't know. We gotta see.
I don't know.
Right. You're right.
Play calling is just awful.
Yeah, it has. And then also Ben has to execute more because yesterday was bad.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals defense is not all that bad.
Not good though.
Not good, but obviously Ben, should be Ben at this point in his career or at this point in the season. He should be that Super Bowl caliber quarterback, but he just, that's not good. And that's not going to win a playoff game, that performance.
No, it's not. That's for sure.
I mean, are you scared?
Oh, I think they're going to lose out and then lose in the first round.
They're going to lose out?
Oh, yeah. If they play like that, they're not beating the Colts in that defense. They're not beating the hyped-up Browns. Yeah. No way. In Cleveland, if the trend keeps going, the Cleveland Browns will be the 3 seed in the AFC.
Yep.
And Pittsburgh will probably have to go to Tennessee again, which they can win that game. But actually, they might have to go to Indy because Tennessee plays Green Bay this week.
Yeah, whoever comes out of the AFC South and gets the 4 seed.
Yeah.
So I mean, hey, listen, if the Steelers lose out, they go to 11-5. The Ravens already have 6 losses, or they have only 5.
The Ravens have 5.
So what happens if actually no, they have the tiebreaker, right?
The Steelers won both, so the Steelers can only drop to 6. They can't go to Buffalo the first round.
Yeah, so they can only drop to 5. Okay.
They can only drop to 6.
Or to 6. Okay.
So.
It's gonna be tricky, man.
They might end up playing in Cleveland week 17 and then playing in Cleveland round 1. So it'll be very, very interesting to say the least. So let's go on to a quick discussion. Where's Carson Wentz going to be? Game 1 of the 2020 2021 NFL season.
I couldn't tell you because the only way he goes somewhere is if he's traded. And, we looked at his performance this year, and I don't see anybody wanting to adopt that contract that he got with Philly, over the summer of 2018. Mm-hmm. Because the way that he played this year, he wasn't even remotely close to his 2017 rookie sophomore season.
Yeah.
And I don't see anybody wanting to pay him that money. He might be out of a job next year.
He might be.
And, that's worst case scenario. Obviously, his best case scenario, I think, is just staying in Philly in a backup role.
Okay.
Because no one wants to take that contract. No one wants to see, him take a team and just completely stink. I mean, I don't even know where he would go. Maybe I don't even know. Denver? Not. I mean, they're still banking on Locke. They're still banking on him. I don't know. Maybe there's just nowhere where he can go and no one wants him. I mean, where do you think he could end up?
So I see three pretty good fits. Not pretty good fits. I see three possible fits. First and least likely is Denver.
Okay.
Second is New England.
Okay.
And third, where I am almost sold if he gets traded, he will be is Indianapolis. I'm almost sold that he's going to be an Indianapolis Colt. Reich was their offensive coordinator at one point.
That's right.
I really think that he would like to bring Carson back and work with him, especially with Rivers. I don't know. He's on a 1-year deal, I believe.
Yeah.
So whatever he decides to do, whether that's retire, go somewhere else, even if he doesn't retire, having Rivers with Wentz a little bit might help. They've got Brissett too. That's another safety valve if Wentz doesn't work out. So
Yeah.
I think Indianapolis makes a lot of sense for him. So.
Yeah. I mean, but who would want to trade for a guy who just was the worst starter in the quarterback in the NFL this year? And I just looked it up. That 4-year, $128 million contract.
I mean, you could buy really low right now.
Yeah.
It would cost what, a seventh maybe, a future seventh, future sixth. So, I don't think it's a high asking price. It's the contract more than anything.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, everybody knows what he's capable of. He went 12-3 as a starter. I think.
I was gonna say, the year they won the Super Bowl, he was the MVP until he got hurt.
Exactly.
In the regular season, and if Nick Foles did not play 3 games of his life, they would have been nowhere near the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Without Wentz.
No.
If Wentz plays that year, I still do think that the Eagles have a great chance of winning that Super Bowl.
I agree. I definitely agree.
The talent's there, the tools are there. It's been there before. They just need somebody to take them in and work with them.
Yeah, because right now,
the problem is.
Right now, I think it's just all mental. It's all mental. He's in his own head. The organization is constantly in his head. They're constantly, in the
O-line sucks too. Their O-line sucks. The Colts O-line is very good.
They're without Jason Peters. They're without Lane Johnson. They're without, everybody who's a starter on that O-line.
And he has no receivers also.
Yeah, and it's been like that for the last 3 years.
No good. Yeah, but I'm just saying if he goes to Indianapolis, he's got a good O-line. He's got T.Y. Hilton. He's got Zach Pascal. He's got Jonathan Taylor.
And
He's got Nyheim Hines. So he's got good weapons up over there in Indy. So it'll be interesting to see. So last thing we're gonna do here, power rankings.
Let's do it.
Want to start from 1 or 10?
Let's start from 1.
Okay, number 1, I have the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, we can both agree with that.
My 1, 2, 3 remains unchanged. I have the Packers at 2.
Okay, I got Buffalo at 2 now.
Okay.
And I
think they're interchangeable, Packers and Bills at this point.
Yeah, I got Green Bay at 3.
And I got the Bills at 3. So number 4 is where we start shaking up. I had 2 teams jump up here, pushing the 2 teams I had 4 or 5 last week down 2 spots. My new number 4 is New Orleans with Drew Brees.
Ooh, I got Cleveland. I got Cleveland at 4. I like what I saw this past week or the last month or so.
Okay. I've got Cleveland at 5.
I got New Orleans at 5. It's a little.
All right, pretty boring so far. Number 6, I have them hanging on is the Steelers at 6. They would have fallen more if there weren't other bad losses this week, like losing to the Jets.
Okay. I got Tennessee at 6.
Really?
I got Tennessee, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got the Rams at 7.
Ooh, really? You're high on those Rams.
I'm high on the Rams now. I am 100% sold on the Rams. I think they're going to win this week. I think they win the division. I think they make noise in the playoffs.
Okay.
They need Cam Akers back, though. Akers might be out this week. They're going to need Akers back to the playoffs if they want to win.
Yeah, for sure.
So, who do you have at 7?
Okay. I got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got Seattle at 7.
Okay.
I got Seattle.
At number 8, I have the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, man. You're not a big Tennessee Titans guy. You don't like that defense.
Defense sucks.
You know,
Defense is terrible.
you don't like that defense.
Yep. All right, who do you got at 8?
I got Baltimore.
Okay.
I got
After
Baltimore.
the
They're gonna
thrashing of Jacksonville.
They're going on a run. That win at Cleveland Monday night, that was a complete spark for them.
Okay. Number 9, I got the Colts.
Number 9, I got Pittsburgh.
Okay. Fair drop.
Yeah.
Fair drop. In number 10, I have Baltimore.
Okay, I got Indy at 10.
All right. I'll give you 11 through 15. I have Seattle just outside just because of, even though they won Washington. Tampa at 12. Miami stays at 13 for me. You can interchange them with Arizona at 14. And then I've got the Bears taking the football team spot at 15 in my power rankings. So,
Okay.
once again, my power rankings 1 through 10. Kansas City, Green Bay, Buffalo, New Orleans, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, the Rams, Tennessee, Indy, Baltimore. Recap your top 10.
Chiefs, Bills, Packers, Browns, Saints, Titans, Seahawks, Ravens, Steelers, and the good old Colts.
Good old Colts.
The good old Colts.
All right, I'm pretty sure that's all the time we have for today. Next episode will probably be out Friday afternoon. We still have to talk about when we want to put that out, Thursday or Friday.
Christmas special.
Christmas special. Let's see. We got some good games to talk about next week, including Dolphins Raiders on Saturday the 26th.
That's
Steelers Colts. The Panthers and football team might not be a terrible game either. Rams Seahawks obviously game of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Titans Packers on Sunday night, and Bills and Patriots on Monday night. There's some big bowls coming up. We didn't get to talk about tonight, but there's some very good bowls, very good matchups as we get closer to New Year's that we'll discuss. And then hopefully the NHL schedule will be out now. We can start highlighting dates for you. But that's all the time we have for tonight. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave anything down in the comments that you want to see. I know Al Cal's down there every episode with his Jets comment. I'll be looking for that here after the win. That's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for watching.